And welcome back, everybody, to the Week 9 edition of Peacock Baseball Weekly. Zach Carlyle once again, and we're joined by head coach Brandon Hunt. And the Peacocks 4-4 on the season. And Coach, thanks for being with us. Hey, down at Quincy and then up in Minneapolis, you go 3-1 in that span. How'd you feel about how your team was able to perform?
Yeah, it was good for us to play, four quality opponents or two quality opponents, 4 games over the course of 2 days. It was a little bit of a unique scenario just in the sense that the Bemidji games were supposed to be earlier, and I didn't plan on having them on the back end of Quincy. Quincy's a pretty good team. Hosted a regional last year and just a quality opponent. So it was a little bit unique for us, but our guys went down and we competed really tough at Quincy. We're able to squeak out an extra inning game in game 1, and then the wheels kind of fell off in game 2. And so we got on the bus and got home that night, and then the next day headed up to U.S. Bank, and just a great experience to be in U.S. Bank. I mean, if anybody's got $1.2 billion laying around, you should build yourself one of those, because it's pretty nice. And it was a pretty cool experience for our guys, and we're able to beat a Bemidji team twice, and they're gonna beat some teams this year. They're pretty good. So overall, going 3-1 over our last 4 games, it was certainly good to get back in the win column.
You mentioned 3-1 over the last 4. You started 1-3. What have you noticed that's been kind of that change moving into these last 4 games?
Pitching and defense. I mean, that's going to be the cliche answer from every coach, but we pitched a lot better and really didn't make any defensive mistakes over the course of those 4 games. I feel pretty confident about our offense. Cautiously speaking, we've shown the ability to be able to put up a few runs and to consistently hit, and obviously we know we're going to face some good pitchers in this league, but if we can pitch, if we can be consistent, not give up free bases, walks, hit by pitches, errors, all that sort of stuff, this past 4-game stretch was just proof to our guys that we really can compete with anybody, and it was good for our guys to be able to do that.
Brett Fanning, Zach Kane put together that doubleheader against Bemidji State up there in Minnesota. How'd you feel about how those two were able to do on the mound?
Yeah, I mean, I'd take a complete game outing from Kane every time. I mean, obviously that'd be nice. Zach's just one of those guys that's going to fill up the strike zone. He did a really good job against Bemidji, who again I think is going to surprise some people with how they swing the bats. They've got a pretty potent lineup. So Zach did a really good job, and our defense made the plays behind him. And Brett's a guy that's been a little bit injury riddled over the course of his career. We had kind of planned on starting him out of the pen to start the season, but he's been dynamite in all his bullpen sessions, and he's really been good for us in keeping his pitch count down, and he's not a guy with an explosive arm, but he's going to go out there and he's going to pitch, and those are my favorite type of guys who just go out there and compete and pitch for you, and he gave us a chance to have a lead in that 2nd game. We're ultimately able to come back and win it. So
as long as Mother Nature will allow it, you get the chance to open up the home schedule this weekend. Minnesota Duluth coming down for the Northern Sun Conference home opener, and how do you feel about that as you move your team into conference play?
Yeah, I mean we're it'll be a couple of days before we can make a final call on where and when and how we're going to play these games. Obviously, with getting the snow the past few days, but Duluth is the defending conference champion. They're a very good program. Bob does a really good job up there. Now, obviously, they've lost quite a few guys from last year's team, but it really doesn't matter that much. They're the team that won it last year, and they will be all year until somebody knocks them off. So we're excited to get an opportunity to again get a chance to play in the NSIC, get our competition rolling from a conference standpoint, and hopefully the weather will warm up here the next couple of days so we can enjoy a home opener here.
No doubt about it. Well, Peacock Baseball taking on Minnesota Duluth this weekend at Robertson Woods Field. UpperIowaAthletics.com, all your information for that. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being with us on Peacock Baseball Weekly.